You have one client. Maybe you landed them through a referral, maybe through a cold email, maybe through sheer luck. And right now, that one client feels like everything. It feels like your whole business, your whole income, your whole identity as a freelancer sitting on the shoulders of a single relationship, and deep down you already know how fragile that is. But here is what nobody is telling you. That one client is not your ceiling. That one client is actually your launchpad. And what I am about to walk you through is the exact process that transforms a single freelance relationship into a six-figure agency, step by step, in plain language, with no fluff. So before we go any further, if you are serious about making this shift and you want a structured system to follow rather than piecing it together yourself, we have a program linked down below in the video description. It walks you through this entire process in a way that is already mapped out for you. Most people who find this video will watch it, feel inspired, and then go back to doing exactly what they were doing before. The ones who actually change their situation are the ones who take a step when a step is in front of them. That step is down below. Now let us get into this. Picture where you are right now. Maybe you are doing client work from your kitchen table. Maybe you are answering emails at 11 at night because that is the only quiet time you get. Maybe you finished a project this week, and instead of feeling proud, the first thing you felt was panic. Because now you have to go find another one. That cycle, the feast and famine, the constant hustle, the exhaustion of doing everything alone, that is the reality of freelancing for most people, and it is completely unsustainable. Here is the painful truth that most people in your position are afraid to say out loud. You are not really running a business, you are running a job. And it is a job with no benefits, no paid time off, no guaranteed income, and a boss who is whoever hired you last. That is not freedom. That is just stress with a different uniform. And what makes it worse is the loneliness of it. You cannot really talk to friends about it because they either do not get it or they tell you to just go back to a normal job. You scroll through social media and you see people talking about their agencies, their teams, their passive income, and somewhere in your chest there is this mix of inspiration and shame, like you should already be there but you are not, and you do not even know where to start. I see you, I genuinely understand what that feels like. And I am about to show you that the distance between where you are and where you want to be is not as far as it looks. Let us start with the foundation. You already have something incredibly valuable that most people trying to build an agency do not have. You have a real client, you have a relationship, you have proof that someone trusted you enough to pay you for your work. That is not small, that is actually the hardest part of this whole journey, and you have already done it. Now here is the shift in thinking that changes everything. Stop thinking of yourself as the person who does the work. Start thinking of yourself as the person who manages the work getting done. That single mental reframe is the difference between a freelancer and an agency owner. Your current client needs things done. They are paying you right now for a specific service. But what does that client actually need beyond what you are delivering? Almost every business client has a dozen problems they are dealing with at the same time. They need content, or ads, or design, or website work, or email marketing, or video editing, or customer service support. They are juggling multiple vendors, multiple freelancers, multiple headaches. What if you became the one person who handled all of it? This is called expanding the scope of the relationship, and it is the fastest way to double or even triple your income from a single client without finding a single new one. You go to your existing client, and instead of just delivering the one thing they hired you for, you start having conversations about their bigger problems. You listen, you ask questions, you identify gaps, and then you come back with solutions. But here is where most freelancers stop themselves. They say, I do not know how to do all those other things. And that is exactly the right problem to have, because now you are thinking like an agency owner. You do not need to know how to do everything, you need to know how to find the right people who do. This is where subcontracting comes in. You find other skilled freelancers, people who are fantastic at the things your client needs, and you bring them in under your direction. You manage the relationship with the client, you set the standards, you deliver the outcomes, and you pay your subcontractors a portion of what the client is paying you. The difference is your margin. That margin, compounded across multiple services and eventually multiple clients, is how you build a six-figure agency. Let me paint this picture clearly so you can feel exactly how different this is. Right now, you trade hours for dollars. You hit a ceiling because there are only so many hours in a day, but the moment you have even one other person delivering work under your brand, your ceiling disappears. You are no longer limited by your own time, you are leveraged. That is the core principle of every successful agency on the planet. Now let us talk about the numbers, because the numbers here are genuinely exciting. The average agency retainer for a small business client ranges widely, but let us say conservatively your current client is paying you $1,500 a month. You expand the scope, you bring in a subcontractor, and now that same client is paying you $4,000 a month for a broader package. You pay your subcontractor $1,200. You keep $2,800. You just nearly doubled your income from a client you already had. Now imagine you do that with 3 clients. You are at $8,400 a month. That is over $100,000 a year. And you have not reinvented anything. You have not launched a complicated product. You have not built a huge team. You have literally taken the relationship you already have and built a structure around it. But how do you get more clients once you have this working? Here is where your existing client becomes your most powerful marketing asset. When you deliver exceptional results and a seamless experience to your first client, they talk. Referrals from satisfied clients are not just free, they are warm, they are pre-sold, they arrive with trust already built. The work you do for one client today is essentially an advertisement for your agency tomorrow. And here is something most people overlook completely. The testimonial and the case study you build from your first client are worth more than any ad campaign you could ever run. When a prospective new client sees that you solved a real problem for a real business, and you have the receipts to prove it, the sale becomes almost effortless. You are not convincing people to hire you. You are showing them proof that people like them already did, and it worked. Think about how different that feels compared to cold pitching. Instead of begging strangers to give you a chance, you are showing qualified prospects a portfolio of outcomes. Instead of justifying your price, you are showing the return on investment. That is a completely different conversation. That is the conversation agency owners have. Freelancers justify, agency owners demonstrate. Now let us talk about pricing, because this is where most people leave a massive amount of money on the table. Freelancers charge by the hour or by the project. Agencies charge by the result and by the retainer. The retainer model is everything. It means predictable monthly income. It means you can plan, you can hire, you can invest, you can breathe. No more launching every month wondering if you will make rent. When you position yourself as a strategic partner rather than a task executor, clients stop thinking about the hourly rate. They start thinking about what it costs them not to have you. That shift in positioning is worth tens of thousands of dollars over the lifetime of a client relationship. Let us also talk about the cost of not doing this, because I think this is important for you to sit with for a moment. Every month you stay in the freelancer trap is a month of income you will never get back. Every month you do everything alone instead of building a system is a month of leverage you left on the table. The compounding cost of staying stuck is brutal, not just financially, but emotionally, energetically, in your relationships, in your sense of self-worth. The people who built real agencies did not start with some magical advantage you do not have. They started exactly where you are right now. The only difference is at some point they decided to stop operating like a freelancer and start building like a business owner. That decision is the entire thing. Everything else is mechanics. You are already closer than you think. You have the client, you have the skill, you have the work ethic, because freelancing without any kind of support system demands an extraordinary amount of it. What you need now is the structure, the framework, the roadmap that takes what you already have and transforms it into something scalable. Most people will finish watching this, feel a surge of energy and possibility, and then let the day take them back into the grind. That is the default. That is the path of least resistance. And that path leads right back to the same kitchen table, same 11 p.m. emails, same feast and famine anxiety a year from now. But if something in this video resonated with you on a deep level, if you recognize your own story in what I described, and if you are genuinely ready to stop trading time for money and start building something that grows without you being the only engine in it, then the program in the description below is for you. It is not for people who are just curious. It is for people who are ready. It is for people who understand that the window between where they are and where they want to be only stays open for so long before the weight of inertia closes it again. The link is below. The next move is yours.